All right, so just to recap from yesterday, we learned about this new special right triangle where the smaller angle was 30, the medium-sized angle was 60, and the right angle, of course, was 90. Across from 30, that was like your basic term that you wanted to start with, and then you would multiply that times root 3, and then you'd multiply the smaller side again by 2 to get the hypotenuse. So for example, if this was 7, then the side across from 60, or the long leg, would be 7 root 3, and the hypotenuse would be 14. So I told you yesterday that some of these were going to be a little bit easier, some of them would be kind of medium, and then some of them would just be a little bit more difficult. So I'll try to let you know, I guess, what level these are. This is the worksheet from the other day. Hopefully you still have it. If not, you can just copy down these questions on a separate piece of paper. And I'm actually going to start on, no, it doesn't matter. I'll start on this side. So I'm going to start with number 1. And some of these will be a little bit easier than the other ones. So for example, number 1, this one should be pretty simple. You have the side across from 30. It's 1. That means the side across from 60 technically is 1 root 3, but we're not going to write this 1 anymore. That's like saying 1x. And then your hypotenuse would be double 1, so this would be 2. So you'd have 2 and then root 3. Number 2, you have the hypotenuse, and you guys can use that little foldable that I gave you. You're always thinking about what you have. So you have the hypotenuse. The first thing it says to do is divide by 2. So I'm just going to take 9 over 2, because that will give me the short leg. The short leg is across from 30. Once I have my short leg, I take the short leg and I multiply it by root 3, which would give me 9 root 3 over 2. So there's B, and then A we said was 9 over 2. Number 3, this is where things are going to start to get a little tricky. You have the side across from 60. You have the long leg. Step 1. Let me erase all of this. Step 1. Take the long leg and divide by root 3. You can't actually divide 25 and 3, but using the properties of radicals, you can rationalize the denominator. Root 3 times root 3 becomes 3. 25 times root 3 is just 25 root 3. And now this is the short leg. In order to get the hypotenuse, I take the short leg and I multiply it by 2, or I double it. The only thing you're going to double is in the numerator, and it's the whole number. So if you double 25 root 3 over 3, you get 50 root 3 over 3. So this times 2 is this. D was 25 root 3 over 3. So they are going to get a little bit more difficult. I'll do another one like that right now. Let's actually just jump to number 6. Identify the side you have first. So you have this side. It's across from 60. You have the long leg. If you have the long leg, the first step is to divide by root 3. You can't actually do this. Rationalize the denominator. This is the short leg. Next, you take the short leg and you multiply it by 2. The only thing you're doubling is this 14. So 28 root 3 over 3. That's your hypotenuse. These other ones we already did. Let me do number 8. A little bit easier. You have the hypotenuse. Half the hypotenuse is 15. You have the hypotenuse. You're dividing by 2 to get the short leg. And then you're multiplying the short leg by root 3 to get the long leg. Number 12, it says in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the shorter leg is 6 feet. So the short leg equals 6. If you want to draw this, you can. Find the length of the other two sides. The long leg would equal 6 root 3. The hypotenuse would equal 12. Okay. The ones on the bottom here, you're going to have to remember the 45, 45, 90 rules and the 30, 60, 90 rules. So you can have two triangles within the same problem. So for number 13, the only thing I have here is that this is 5. Since this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle on the right, this x is going to become 5. Y is going to become 5 root of 2. So that was the easy part. The hard part is now, once you realize that this is across from 60, you now need to divide 5 by root 3 because you have the long leg. You have the long leg, divide by root 3. You can't actually do this. 5 root 3 over 3. This is the short leg, or z. You want the hypotenuse. Multiply this by 2. The hypotenuse is 10 root 3 over 3. Same thing is going to happen in number 14. Number 14, you are allowed to construct other segments. So I'm going to drop down a perpendicular line here, or the height of this shape. And the shape on the right is just a square. So if this is 2 root 3, then this is 2 root 3. If it's a square, then this would be 2 root 3. And this would be 2 root 3 from here to here. Okay, I actually had to pause the video and go back because I lied to you. We don't know that this is a square. I assumed it was a square, however, it could be a rectangle. So the only thing you know for sure is that this is definitely 2 root 3 because this is 2 root 3. So imagine if you took this 2 root 3 and slid it over, it would have to match up here. So this height is definitely 2 root 3. The reason that B is not 2 root 3 is because now if you look at the right triangle, the side across from 60 is 2 root 3, which means that the short leg across from 30 has to be 2. And now you have the short leg, so A has to be 4. Be careful here because this is telling you 5 is this entire thing. So if 5 is the length from here to here, but from here to here is 2, that means that this is 3, which means that B is 3. And if you put this in the calculator, you'll see that 2 root 3 is very close to 3. So we assume that it was a square, however, it's not actually a square. Last one, number 15, I'm going to take this 45, 45, 90. I can't do anything. I have 3 different variables. This one should be a little bit easier because this 30 has a whole number across from it. It's 4, which means the side across from 60 would be 4 root 3. Double 4 would be 8. And now I'm working in the 45, 45, 90 triangle. So 4 root 3 is one leg. It's isosceles, so this also has to be 4 root 3. In order to get the hypotenuse, remember you take the leg times root 2. 4 root 3 times root 2 are 4 roots of 6. Okay, so that's essentially now what we're moving towards, and see how they get a little bit harder or a little bit more difficult. Go ahead and work on this one. You're going to do all the ones that are not circled. So these two, You can do number 4 now, even though it was circled before. And then I'll put these answers on the Google Classroom. When you're done with this worksheet, you can start to work on the Go Formative on 30, 60, 90 triangles. Work on it with a partner, or you can do it by yourself. Just make sure you're checking the answers to make sure that they're right.